to get into it though with the whole like Vergil Ortiz situation. The Golden Boy here. I guess they went ahead and they settled the dispute. Now we can look forward to Vergil fighting again. What do you make of all that, Sean? The whole Vergil Ortiz thing.
Well, Oscar held his nuts pretty good, He and I didn't know if it was going to start going against him, and if Rick had a master plan all along to get Vergil out of that contract, get him over to Zuffa, where he can get big money like Shakur did. And Oscar, by just kind of being straightforward with us in the media, showing his hand, it kind of worked for him. He's like, I have contracts and I'm going to fight for them in court. And I remember specifically that language about he needed a relationship with DAZN that kind of saved him in court. And he earlier in the year it was looking kind of bleak for him. It's like you might lose Ryan Garcia, you might lose Vergil Ortiz, you might not have a network to go to as your DAZN deal has come up. Now he's got the DAZN extension. Him and Ryan, I wonder maybe if a guy like Ryan, who despite all the ups and downs and turmoil he's had with Oscar and not liking a number of things Oscar has said or done, but maybe that straightforwardness that Oscar has been having the last year or two and his kind of like revitalization on the scene, right? Because he was MIA for a number of years. And then around Ryan and Tank, he gets back on the scene. Ryan didn't like him not showing up to the post fight. Oscar kind of gave a weak excuse about having to go to dinner.
Yeah, we were there.
It's like, dude, yeah, we covered that fight. And it's like, it's not really a good excuse. But part of me understood it because it was like, well, I didn't want you to take this fight. You kind of circumvented me with Lupe Valencia, took the fight because you wanted the big money, and we didn't really think you were ready. And if you won, I was going to ride the bandwagon and be like, I knew Ryan would always win, but you lost, so I'm going to go to dinner.
Correct.
But now, anyways, I'm sorry for being long-winded, chat, but it seems like they're on amicable terms, right? And maybe Ryan, what I was getting at, some level of him respects it. At least we know where we stand. He's not going to always just smile these days. And then behind my back, oh, fuck that kid. And his, and whatever grievances Oscar has these days, he's a lot more transparent about. So you know where you stand with him. And so anyways, back to Vergil. The beginning of the year didn't look good for Oscar. And now he wins over Rick Merizian. He has his fighter ready to fight again. In Vergil, he has Ryan. Ryan just inked an extension with DAZN. I think that was part of the deal of allowing him to fight at Paramount. I have to check it again. I think Raphael tweeted it, Dan. But do you know if that extension applies to him and Oscar as well in Golden Boy, or is it just a DAZN thing? Are they prying Ryan solo dolo like they have with Tiafimo and like they offered Shakur?
I'm not entirely sure. I feel like with deals like that and what boxing is now, Sean, there's like a lot of gray areas between DAZN directly negotiating with fighters and promoters. So remains to be seen.
Well, let's say he does. I mean, let's say he's a part of that extension. He's sitting pretty good. He's got his network extension. He's got his stars back under contract. So he's doing good. Now, as for Vergil and Boots, maybe you could pull it up in the stream. I don't know if you can, but I had a tweet earlier that seemed to hit well with people where I said his team needs to get him the Fondora fight now.
Yeah.
Because Eddie, and I've been wanting that fight since last year anyways, when this fight was originally supposed to be being discussed in late 2025 and being made in early 2026. I was like, yeah, it's a great fight, Boots and Vergil, but we're going to do this for an interim title? Like, it's not even, let alone not a unification, not undisputed. So Eddie Hearn, understandably this week in LA for the Pacheco fight, is saying today's price isn't yesterday's price. And I know some people would want to go, oh, now look at Team Ennis. They're holding up the Vergil fight. But Eddie, it's fair. It's fair to say that. He's a unified champion. Actually, Jaron Ennis, and I like Vergil Ortiz. He's really fucking good. But Jaron Ennis has 4 world titles to his name now. He is now a 2-division, 2-time unified champion, and Vergil is yet to get his hands on a full world title. So you're not going to get economic parity like you may have gotten earlier this year. So what you got to do is you got to make your statement. You got to bring some hardware to the table.
You were talking about
You
this tweet, this tweet here, right? This one right here.
Yep.
So
Go
it
ahead and
says
read.
it said my thoughts on Boots and Virgil right now are simple. Virgil needs to land the Fondora fight. Eddie has talked about matching Boots with Josh Kelly next. Boots says he wants the belts. Virgil's team has to try and land a Fondora fight in the meantime.
There you go.
Which is a great fight, by the way. I feel like that's a perfect fight for like the Dignity Health Sports Park or like the StubHub, whatever they call it now.
Oh, you're thinking small, BT. You don't think that's an MGM fight? I mean, he fought Keith Thurman at the MGM.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of it more so like the kind of fight it's gonna be. Like I expect it to be kind of a war, and I feel like that's the perfect stage for that fight because of the kind of fight I think it'll be.
Yeah,
But yeah, it could be an MGM fight.
I think that's what it is, bro.
You think so?
Yes.
Because really, Sean, I don't even think I know they put it at the MGM, but I don't think Keith versus Fundora was really an MGM fight. The MGM wasn't sold out.
No, it was not. It was a lot of bald patches. In that
and you were there when Fundora fought Cordell Brooker. How big was that crowd?
It was
yeah.
What's the word again?
Sparse.
Sparse. Thank you.
Yes.
Almost sparsely, like the shit they put on your spaghetti. Like
yeah.
It was sparse. It was and dark and gloomy.
Yeah. Like Mexican American doesn't always equal ticket sales and fan base. It doesn't always.
But I think those two
though, yeah.
Yeah, man. I think they could get, they could fill up. Maybe you might have to tarp off the top, but put it at the MGM, bro. It's not a come on now. It's not a StubHub fight.
I think it is. I think it's a StubHub fight.
Yeah, you might be being you might be being realistic about how many people they could actually sell tickets for, but
correct. I mean, I know we think it's a big fight. We think Vergil Fundora is a fight that's worthy of MGM because of how exciting it is and their names and things like that. But commercially, it's not a MGM fight. MGM Grand Slam is supposed to be for like the biggest and best, like
you're right,
name wise.
You're right. The standards. BT.
We've gotten away from that in boxing.
Right. So for today's standards and market, it's an MGM fight.
What about the Alamo Dome?
People and Rolly shouldn't be at T-Mobile.
What about the Alamo Dome? They're saying Alamo Dome.
Yeah, that makes sense too. I was thinking that too. Our guy Chiquian Boxing, much love to him, man. That's our guy.
Yeah, shout out to him. But I mean, I think it has to happen next. I think Vergil needs a big fight. He needs to actually fight for a world title because he was at 140. He didn't fight for a world title. He was at 47, didn't fight for a world title there. And he's been at 54 now for like 2 years and hasn't fought for a world title. So it's getting and you had this whole dispute all of a sudden, and a lot of the Jaron Ennis fans, and rightfully so, they said, you know what, all of a sudden it's time to fight Boots. You do the big face off, and now there's a big dispute, and now they resolved it after Boots beat Xander.
Yeah, it turned out to be for nothing, really, and you lost 10 months of inactivity. And remember, one thing Rick Merizian would tell me why he thought his guy could beat Ennis was Ennis's lack of experience and quality opposition. Well, now he just fought a very solid, good young champion in Xander under some very bright lights. The brightest lights either one of them, Vergil and Ennis I'm talking about, have ever fought under. And getting hurt in the third round, that may just make him that much more experienced and understand he can't afford a moment like that against Vergil Ortiz. And he fights behind his jab that much more so and dials down the willingness and to take chances just a little. I mean, that's who he's always going to be, but just a little to pick Vergil apart, and then again get that experience of dealing with a big fight that Vergil still hasn't had yet. So
correct. Yeah,
it all turned out to be for naught, and now their leverage only went down, rightfully so.
Spit Bucket, he's a Texas guy, so he was there. I don't know if you were at Vergil versus Lubin, but he was there, and he said there was a lot of empty seats over there in Fort Worth. Is that true, Sean? Were you there?
No, I mean, I watched it on the Zone like everybody else did, but I saw it. I saw that. I could see on my screen on my laptop watching the fight that was the case. Like Spit Bucket, Spit Bucket was there. Yeah. So you hear it from the man who was there himself. He did look really fucking good in that fight, though. And I know Lubin chinny and passed it, but Lubin is a good fighter and had just controversially, but still had beaten Jesus Ramos, who's a good young fighter. And Vergil, the thing I think people sleep on with Vergil is his hand speed. I always say that he's got a lot of velocity on his combinations. He's throwing heat, good power in both hands. And if he gets to that same mid range that Zayas got to and had all that success in the third round with, then it's conceivable he could get there and land the same kind of combinations and have a lot more devastating effect. But I am picking Ennis against the field right now, though.
I hear you. No, and not even just the hand speed, Sean. It's also like his hand positioning at times. Sometimes he doesn't just strictly operate out of the high guard like everybody says, because he showed a bit of that in the Madrimal fight. He's got good angles. I mean, he is a Robert Garcia fighter, so he does have some remnants. Not that he's banned, but when he knocked out Lubin, it was off of an angle change.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a lot more subtleties to his skill set than people give him credit for. They like to think of Vergil Ortiz as like a high guard, overly front foot dominant Mexican fighter, and I don't think he's that. So it'll be intriguing to see what could happen if Vergil gets downhill on Boots. But I would tend to agree with you. I've always favored Ennis in the fight. With him, it's really like a durability thing. If Vergil gets downhill on him and hurts him, is he durable enough? And that remains to be seen. But I would lean towards Ennis as well.
Yeah, and Vergil also has a great jab.
Correct.
So that he doubles up, and it's a weapon, and gets him into that mid range he would need to start going downhill like you're talking about.
Correct.
And he's got a little bend to his waist too. He's not Canelo when it comes to hit the bend in his waist, but he that was giving Lubin a lot of problems, and just his educated pressure, and just a better puncher than Xander too. A little bit faster, a little older, a little stronger.
Also, too, like Boots had that interview on the Pivot, Sean, where he was talking about how he said he wasn't hurt in the third round. He was just chilling, and he gets lazy in there. Those things against someone like with the firepower of Vergil Ortiz could be the difference in the fight. Xander, good fighter, very sound, but we all knew he didn't have the offensive firepower that Vergil had.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and he can rationalize it, rectify it however he wants, but he did get hurt against a guy who's not the biggest puncher. But I did think that Xander's power was a little slept on heading into that fight. It kind of reminded me of Danny heading into the Matisse fight. And Danny's a better puncher pound for pound at that time than Xander is now. But everybody was talking about Matisse's power, and it's like, this is a strong, big 140. Danny could crack. And again, Xander can't crack like Danny did at 140, but he's a big kid at 154. I never thought he was feather fisted. And remember, he's not, what did surprise me is he hurt Boots with a right hand, because he's naturally left-handed, fighting orthodox. So, but again, Boots fans are fair to point out that Vergil had been hurt by lesser punchers than Boots, who doesn't have Boots' speed and creativity and everything, like Mean Machine and Sergey Boachuk.
Yep, twice.
Is a grinder. Like, he's not a huge puncher. He's not a snappy, can hit you with a shot you don't see coming and have power on it. He's more of a grinder. And yeah, he dropped Vergil twice, and I still thought Vergil won that fight. But so they both have shown vulnerability. It would be a super exciting fight. But let's see Vergil and Fondora first.
1,000%. How we get to see it. We got our first switch chat from my main man, the Spit Bucket Podcast. He says, "I'm gonna have to catch the playback gang. It's movie time with the family. I'll stand on this. It's the shots you don't see later, fellas." And shout out to the Spit Bucket Podcast. Make sure you guys go subscribe to the Spit Bucket Podcast. Good guy.
Yeah, see, he was a step ahead. He knew, that's just what I said. Like, Boots is gonna hit him with shots he doesn't see coming, the way Boachuk, if Boachuk dropped, we'll see. If Boachuk dropped him with slower hands and not as much power as Boots, then Boots could take it a step further. Just like if Zayas hurt him with a right hand, and he's not even a puncher like that, and the power he usually generates is with his left hand, and if Vergil gets, that's why they got to fight the fights. But I think the overall talent of Boots makes him the favorite.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, like going back to to Vergil. I would favor Boots, but
Off Xander's left hook. Yeah, that's true. He hurt him with that too. But it was the right hand that got it going, that snapped his head back and got him a little less alert and messed with it. It looked like his reflex, and then eventually the left hook followed it up on the temple that hurt Boots too. So, but no, that's a good point by Joey.
no, for sure. But Boots can't have those lapses. I mean, if he has those lapses and it happens to be when Vergil hits one of those angles, he could get hurt like Eric Salubin did. The lights get cut off.
Yeah, then